Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the DNA Design DK-25 accessory and upgrade set for the Transformers Studio Series Bumblebee movie Starscream 86 Hot Rod, Jazz and KUP. This set is currently available and in stock right now over at Shozy Store, so for that of course I shall pack a link down in the description box below. And you guys all know that in my previous DNA Design accessory gear master set review I essentially said that I didn't think it was DNA Design's best work. It was rather lackluster, and to be honest some of the accessories that they included specifically for Optimus Primal and Beast Megatron I found to be incredibly underwhelming. So suffice to say, when I got my shipping notice for this, I wasn't all that excited, but surprisingly it has in fact actually turned out a lot better than that previous set. Now we can take a look here at the package. You can see we get a really cool retro inspired piece of artwork there for the 86 logo, and as we spin our attention here to the back, it showcases all of the accessories as well as upgrade components that come for Jazz, Hot Rod, KUP and of course Starscream, some of which I find to be really cool, and then others of which, much like that Beast Megatron and Optimus Primal, I do find to be slightly underwhelming. But with all that being said, let's crack this open and of course get the review started. And so, starting off firstly by taking a look here at the accessories of which have been designed for Hot Rod, we don't in fact actually get any upgrade components for this guy, probably down to the simple fact that he's near enough perfect as it was. And I believe in my original review of this guy, the only thing that I had a critique with was that Hasbro never included the fishing rod, as of course that was really the only accessory of which was lacking, but DNA Designer fixed that, and you can see the sculpt work actually is pretty cool. For those of you who don't remember, this does appear towards the beginning first act of the 86 movie, and it's actually a really nice scene between Hot Rod and of course Daniel. You can see there the actual fishing rod itself has been sculpted really nicely. We do in fact actually get a rope with a tiny little fish attached to the bottom, pretty decent paint as well as sculpt work, and we also do get this almost dioramic piece which essentially is just a few stones, and we also do get Daniel fully sculpted in there looking really nice. You can see the paint as well as sculpt work doesn't look too bad at all. He is in fact removable. It is simply just a peg of which pegs here into the butt, which is a little peculiar, but we can just stick him in there. And in regards to Hot Rod, essentially it's actually really cool the way they've designed this. If we lift the legs up, it does expose a port here that you will just tab into this section. So just essentially pull the arms forwards and snap Hot Rod in there just like so, and it's actually a really nice fit as well. And then we can just bring in our fishing rod, snap that there into the hands of Hot Rod, and with a bit of finesse you could probably get a really cool pose. I'll be sure to post some images towards the beginning of this review, but you can see they're not looking too bad at all. A really nice companion piece for this 86 Hot Rod, and once again I personally am not entirely sure as to what other accessories or components they could have given this guy other than of course the fishing rod. So I personally really like this. Will this appeal to everybody? Probably not, especially in terms of a display. I can't really see many of you guys in fact actually utilizing this, but personally I actually really like the way this looks. So next up we have KUP, and this is definitely where I think this kit kind of goes off the rails slightly, and I'm really quite surprised that no one at DNA Design in fact actually second thought this, as personally these are accessories of which are in some regards slightly strange, and definitely not ones that I personally would have ever come up with. If someone had given me a task to come up with a few additional accessories of which to give to KUP, it definitely would never have been these. But for those of you who recall, of course this figure does have that gimmick where you can detach the limbs in order to recreate the scene where the giant squid does attack KUP, and they've just basically expanded upon that. So we get a few cybernetic attachments to give you the impression, I guess, of battle damage. So in order to in fact actually attach these, you'll just want to remove the arm here. You can see this section does slide there over the top, and whilst it looks pretty cool, once again I'm not entirely sure as to how many of you guys are in fact actually going to display KUP dismembered on the shelf. You can see it definitely does give you the impression that the arm of course has been sheared off to expose some of the actual internal endoskeleton, but then as we come here to this one, you essentially just want to take the one with the port, peg that there into the arm, and once again that is supposed to give you the impression that the arm has in fact detached. We can then also come here to the leg, and much like the arm we just slide that component on, and then for this just slide this on. It is cool to see that they are in fact completely different sculpts to one another, so there is a little bit of uniqueness between the two pieces, but you can see there, whilst it's pretty cool sculpt work, I just kind of find it to be rather pointless. Now we also do get a few puddles of what I imagine is supposed to resemble either oil or energon. To be honest, there's no denying that this looks like pee. I really have no idea as to why they didn't go for a more transparent purple plastic to give you that impression that he was leaking energon, as this just does not look right, especially when you have it planted here on the ground. For those of you who have maybe picked up the MPM Ironhide upgrade kit that came with the Mini Mojo, this will be a perfect accessory for that guy, and to be honest I think that was the intention. So basically you're just once again, much like Hot Rod, supposed to create this almost diorama of KUP leaking out some oil, which whilst looks pretty cool for some photography, once again, I just kind of don't think that it's an accessory that's going to appeal to everybody, and personally, this is definitely not how I'll be displaying KUP on the shelf. Turning to Cybertronian Starscream, this once again is another case of where I really just think they should have left the figure as it was. So you can see, standard on the figure, we did get these really cool pre-posed fingers. They're actually the best sculpt, personally, that I think we've seen for fingers from the Studio series. I hate when they just give us those circular ports. So to see some detailing, some finger definition there, I think was really awesome. And I actually find the hands that they've given this guy as an upgrade set to be definitely a step in the wrong direction. And these are really just a downgrade. So when you in fact actually get a closed fist, this is how it looks. To me, that is awful, really bad. And I'm not sure about yourselves, but from some of the promo images that were shown, I was led to believe that all of the fingers would have been individually articulated, but nope, it merely is just this trigger finger. I have no idea at all why they've designed this in this way. They did it, I imagine, so that he could hold the null rays slightly better, but who is really going to have their Starscream holding the null rays like that? Not only are these not the best looking null rays, but they're not the weapons that we actually see him sport in the movie, and they're always attached onto the wings. And to be honest, the hands that already come with the figure do already a pretty decent job in actually holding them, so really pointless in my opinion. I will showcase how to actually insert them onto the figure. One thing that is nice is that we do get a wrist swivel, but just to give you that comparison, definitely to me at least, these are a major downgrade. Now, in order to in fact actually install them, I will merely only be doing it on one arm, just as I have no intention to keep those hands on this figure after this review. But you are going to want to unscrew both of these here, and then once that's complete, essentially we just gently pry this section here up. To be honest, I actually find this to be more hassle than it is really worth, but just gently pry this section off. That will allow you to then wriggle off the hand that already comes with the figure, and then we can take the upgrade pieces and essentially just slide them here over the top, but it's really difficult to do. So just slide that there, and then essentially just completely reconceal all of this back up. And there you've got the new upgrade hand fully installed here on the arm. And I'd love to know down in the comment section below, do you guys in fact actually find this here to be a downgrade? And personally, I don't even think I've installed it properly, as there appears to be a slight gap. I just don't want to in fact actually raise that there all the way to the top, but you can see in terms of a comparison, at least to me, there's no denying that this hand that already come on the figure is so much cooler looking than this one, as there's just no way to in fact actually get this looking anything like this. You can see when you move that index finger out to the side, it looks as if though he's broken it, and when you close the fist, it does just not look nowhere near as good as this one in my opinion. So definitely a throwaway accessory, something of which they should never ever have even produced for this figure, as I really do just find it not only to be a waste of time, but definitely a downgrade and not an upgrade by any stretch of the imagination. And lastly, we turn to 86 Studio Series Jazz. In my opinion, the saving grace of this set, as this is really what DNA Design originally set out to do, upgrade on figures that are already released. I really just think lately they've been kind of shooting themselves in the foot by releasing either really pointless accessories or upgrade pieces of which are not an upgrade over the already pre-existing sculpt. But here with Jazz, I actually think they've gone back to basics and have done a pretty decent job. So included are in fact these two massive speakers. These are really cool. Of course, an accessory of which was missing on the original figure. You can see the sculpt work is actually pretty decent. I also like the gunmetal that we've got here for the interior, and we also do get these components here at the top, of which you have a few ways in order to actually display them here for bot mode. So you can either tap them here on to the side of the hips, just like so, just to show you guys how that does look, which once again I actually think is really cool. Or personally, how I will actually be displaying him is taking these, and essentially they are designed to in fact actually fill out this hollowness that we've got going on here towards the back. So you can just take them and essentially just stick them in there, which is pretty cool. They do in fact actually fit in there really snug. So do the same here for this side. That definitely fills that hollowness out and makes him look slightly more visually interesting from a back perspective. And then in regard to the speakers, of course, you simply do just take them and port them there into the hands, which is really nice. And they also incorporate in the vehicle mode, which I'll showcase in just a second. And you really do have to have Jazz with a couple of speakers. So personally, I actually think these are really cool accessories. And then we also do get included Jazz's grappling hook. Now this too has also been sculpted pretty nicely. You can see how we do get the actual rope section and of course the almost harpoon. But then we can just take the wrist here, fold this section into the hollow cavity, and you can see we've got a tab on the underside that this here will just snap into place with. And you can see there is the grappling hook. This section here does in fact actually rotate, so for those of you who do wish to in fact actually wind this up, you can do so, although unlike some of those other offerings out there, there isn't an easy method to do this. You essentially do just have to roll this here all the way up until of course that rope is fully installed, which isn't too bad at all. And then finally, in terms of accessories for Jazz, we do get a few gap fillers, of which I personally find to be more than welcome. So if we just set the speakers here off to the side and bring some of those in, we'll begin firstly by taking a look here at some of the forearm covers, an area of which personally I found to be in a dire need of an upgrade. So we get these larger pieces here. Essentially these do just come over the top and snap there really nicely into place, and you can see the color match is near enough perfect. There is a slight contrast. This here is a little darker when in comparison to the white plastic that we get on the figure, but honestly it looks a lot better in hand than it is coming across on camera, and you can just see the difference there. That is so much nicer. And then we also do get some here to in fact actually fill out the thighs, so just snap that section into place, and then of course snap that section into place. There is in fact actually a drastic color difference here. Maybe that's just down to the white plastic yellowing here on my copy, but in regards to the forearms, I actually think that looks pretty cool. So overall, for the accessories and upgrade pieces that they've included here for Jazz, I actually think them to be really awesome. So we'll get this guy transformed up, and I'll showcase how you can of course actually implement the speakers into the vehicle mode. So all we do for this is take the speakers and then just hinge these sections here out to the sides. Of course, come to this side and repeat the same process. We can then bring in Jazz and basically just drop the toes down ever so slightly, and essentially all you do here is just tab these sections into place and then just orientate them accordingly, and then of course come here to this side and repeat the exact same process. And there we have Jazz with some of those DNA design accessory components here for the vehicle mode. Once again, not looking too bad at all, but I really do think that it is the robot mode where they truly do shine. In particular would of course be some of those gap fillers. And so, some final thoughts for the DNA Design DK-25 accessory and upgrade set. Personally, I find this here to be a rather mixed bag, much like their previous DK-28 set. I just find some of these accessories not only to be incredibly pointless, but they really don't build upon what Hasbro already created, and essentially that's what an upgrade set is supposed to be. It's supposed to be better than what's already come before it, and especially in regards to Starscream, I do find those hands to be a massive downgrade, and literally I personally don't know anyone of which would have asked for an articulated index finger on that Cybertronian Starscream, just as it's so pointless. The finger sculpt is now terrible in my personal opinion. It's so much worse when in comparison to what already came on the previous pretty decent looking sculpt that we got from Hasbro and Takara. And just overall, I think that if you're after the actual articulated fingers for Starscream from this set, then this really just isn't worth it at all. Then we turn to the accessories of KUP. Whilst they're really cool, I actually love how you can add some of those cybernetic endoskeleton components onto the arms and legs. I just think them once again to be slightly pointless, especially for the price point, and those oil leaks or pee leaks, whatever they're supposed to be, are just a really throwaway accessory. There's something that I'm pretty certain not many collectors will in fact actually use to display on the shelf, and the same also can be said for Hot Rod. Whilst the dynamic base is pretty cool, as well as the actual fishing rod, I just really don't know many of you guys out there who are in fact actually going to display him with that fishing rod, especially when he already comes with so many cool accessories such as the Matrix of Leadership, those two blasters, the actual buzzsaw. I just really think it to be overall quite pointless. The only real accessories here and upgrade pieces of which personally I think are worth anything would be the ones for Jazz. I think the actual arm fillers are pretty cool, but once again you could probably find them from an independent seller for a fraction of the price of this actual DNA design kit. And whilst the speakers are also cool, if you don't want any of the accessories for KUP, Hot Rod and Starscream, I really do think some of those other offerings out there are probably your safest option in not only saving money but really getting the pieces that you just want in your collection. So with all that being said, unless everything here appeals to you, I really just cannot highly recommend this set. I once again don't think it's one of DNA Design's best, and I definitely think that they are kind of going overboard now with some of these accessories and upgrade pieces that they're including. They used to be really well done, but now they're just sort of throwing ones in there for the sake of it in order to either inflate the price or just fill out a pack. And really and truly, I just hope this is not the way they plan to do business in the future. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you are after adding this set to the collection, it is available over at Showzy's store, and for that of course I shall pack a link down in the description box below. And as always, I thank you guys all so much for watching. Until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.